everybody. So we'll do it in English because we have people that are not speaking French at all.
That's good news.
Yeah, the goal is to be the most interactive possible. We have to have Emmanuelle and Annabelle for speaking about the challenges of no-code skills emerging in the different size of companies. So this is a talk. Ask any questions, and the thing is to speak about this during 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and after this, having a lot of exchange with our admins. So my name is Pierre. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cube, and we have Emmanuelle and Annabelle that accepted my invitation to speak about the challenge of the arrival of the new no-code skills and what is this challenge and what represents this for companies. So maybe just before presenting the agenda, can you just present yourself to our listeners?
Hello everyone, we are very pleased to be here today. I'm very pleased. So sorry for the English speaking people I'm not very good in English. So I am the founder and the CEO of a non-profit called Social Builder. Social Builder is helping the tech industry to have more women. So we built different programs to help women get inspired to go into tech, to train them on tech jobs, and to insert them into companies. And we work with the whole ecosystem, we try, to change corporate policies so that they are more inclusive for women.
Thank you, Emmanuelle.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm very pleased also to be here with you today. Do not hesitate to interact if sometimes I use words that are French or that are not totally understandable. My name is Annabelle. I'm the co-founder of Maria Schools. It's a campus of schools where you can learn every skill that is useful in our very, very fast-changing world, very new world also. So for sure, we train on no-code skills because it's a booming subject at the moment. We have a lot of companies that are coming to us saying we need people that need to have these skills, and we have also a lot of students that are asking us for these skills. So I'm very happy to talk about all these during this 20 minutes.
Thank you very much. The idea is to talk about no-code, but much more generally about tech and how no-code skills will impact new teams within a very small size of companies, startup, middle, and big corporation. So I propose you to discuss about those three topics, having a focus on the new skills and profiles and jobs, and after this having a focus about women because it's very important, and I'm very proud that during this first NoCode Summit that we don't have exactly the last numbers, but normally it should be 35% of women, which is not 50, what's the objective, but it's in tech, I think something that we have to remember, and we will try next year to have the 50 pupils. And after, the third topic is about trainings, because new skills, new people, and we need to train them. So Maria School, you launched this year or last year, I don't remember exactly, within John Maestro, a no-code training at Social Builder. You worked with Microsoft about this topic, so we'll talk about all of this stuff. If we begin with the first topic about new skill, for you, what is a no-coder? How do you see it today?
For me, the no-coder is the perfect intersection with a project manager and a tech person, meaning that you need to be totally organized and to think problem first. I think it's very important. You don't go directly in your tool, but you have to think like, okay, what's the problem? What's the process I need to work on? What's the thing we need to solve here? So you have to be a very problem-oriented person, and also someone that will be very, very curious to go and find solutions that are always changing, because the tools that you're using when you're doing no-code are always updating. There are always new tools available, so you have to be always very at ease with a changing environment of work. So it requires from the people to be totally very happy with change, and like very, okay, it's not a problem that I don't know, I will learn. So you need this kind of profile that is not very well known in corporation.
You have a pretty the same, I don't know.
Yes, but I think for NoCoder should be everyone. So now people should be very autonomous in the way they are solving everyday problem like automation, making processes more easy, and I think that would be the profile should be a skill that everybody has in their skill set.
Yeah.
But I know it's still specialized environments, but in the future, I think we will all be no-coders.
So when we say about no-code, you don't think about tech profile first. You
Absolutely not.
think about people that working in corporation and needs to do things by themselves, not always calling the SC for solving problems. This is your definition too?
Yes, and I would say like it's a huge opportunity for non-tech profile to enter in the tech field. For me, it's like, okay, and that's why we're going to talk about women then, but I think it's a huge opportunity for them to seize right now, because there's nothing that is totally built. It's still a new capability that you can develop in a lot of corporation, and women can go there, and then it's a way to work on the product and to work on what you will give in your consumer hands, which is today the I would say the ownership of all the tech population, which is 90% men today. So for me, yes, it's an opportunity for non-tech people.
I'm going to add something. I'm just going to say that it doesn't prevent women to go into really hard tech and to really enjoy development, coding, but it creates a bridge for people who feel excluded from the tech space to go into it and then open doors.
So yeah, maybe it's not the good way to talk about it, to speak about career move or change. It's just an evolution, and this is a package, no-code package that you have in your first expertise. If you're working in business teams or marketing teams, it's not. I'm not moving from marketing to tech teams. I use no-code through my own expertise. Yeah. Okay. And the definition of citizen developers. This is something you use. You believe in it or not?
Citizen developers. Why not?
Maybe
Yes.
much more talking about makers or product builders.
Yeah, I would say
We heard a lot.
Yeah, much more builder, maker, make things happen, and problem solver a lot for me. I would say like in this career move and change from non-tech profiles, I've seen a lot of examples at the moment, because we are at the beginning of it, of people that see that you can automate processes. You can go way faster with that, and they kind of fall in love with their problem, with all the problems they see in their different sales department, in the ops department, and then they ask to go further in this problem, but they need for that to have new skills, to know some tools, to be trained, or to train themselves. And that's people that I see that are changing jobs, taking the responsibilities of automating some processes, creating a lot of way for people to experiment, because it's very important. Today, all the companies, it's very difficult to cope with the fast-changing world. If you want to cope with it, you have to be not 100% dependent of all the IT teams, and you have to be able to test very fastly some things. And if you want to cope with that, you have to have these roles of people that are very autonomous in the companies and that can test with no-code tools. So I think these people at the moment, they are people that are doing it themselves in the company, showing that they want to do it, that they love it, and then they create some new jobs in their life.
And what do you think about the shadow IT? The IT teams speak a lot about this, that marketing teams, business teams are doing by themselves, and no-code will increase initiatives, and the IT teams say, no, we have to manage this, we lose the control of the IT choices. Is it a threat, according to you, or maybe just a bridge to much more work with the IT teams, because before they just not discuss?
So like I'm And so they came to us saying, okay, we are developing this app. Just to give you an example, we are developing a business application suite, and we need developer. So they train developer first for the suite to really connect their tools better to the company. And now they're asking us. Now we want to train the managers to be totally solo users, and really not only users but also understand how it works so that they can be autonomous. So editors in Microsoft, they are pushing hard that way, so that it's not the IT team that controls it anymore. It's going to be people asking what kind of tools they want to use, and they want the IT team to provide to them. So it's just, the direction is going, and the market is pushing in that direction. So the role of IT team will change. It's already supporting, the teams, but they won't have control anymore. This is my very humble point of view.
Yeah, I think so too. What I see in the scale-up world a little bit more, when you see the example of PayFit, they put the no-coders not with the tech team but with the product team, and they call their no-coders product builders. And I think this is the way you can manage to have a very good relationship between no-coders and tech teams, IT teams. It's the fact that you consider your no-coders as product people, people that will help the IT teams to have the good prioritization and to have the good way of seeing what are the key next move for the consumers. So for me, no-coders, also when we're talking about what it is, a no-coder is also very sensitive product person.
At Cube, we work with a lot of diverse size of companies, and we see a lot of very different teams that are moving on. No-code teams, low-code teams, and no-code plus code teams. So now it's moving a lot, and for those that are very organized around no-code teams and code teams, they are very complementary. I think about GoJob. They are here during the summit, and they have no-code teams just in the other room of the coders, and they're working always each other. So I think it will be very complementary, and it's much more an hybridization. And I think it's better to speak about hybridization rather than revolution. And I think we will ever have coders, and tomorrow much more no coders. So yeah, it's, I don't know if you have any question about this first topic you want to ask now or after.
And probably a lot of experience and point of view also.
Yeah, definitely. Good.
We will be in US now, that everybody will be like,
Yeah, the French.
Let's go. Question. Thank you.
I'm from Belgium. In your opinion, can everyone become a no-coder, or do you need certain range of digital skills?
It's one of our topic, and I think we will try to answer this much more in the third part about the non-tech profiles or tech profiles, but so maybe we'll wait.
You totally need digital skills.
Digital culture, to know a little bit the culture of tools, what is existing, and after this, knowing if you are much more a maker or bodybuilder, and there's a lot of definition very different. But in web development, you have a lot of jobs. You have product jobs, design jobs, dev and tech jobs, and it's very hard to be very good on all the stuff, and you have to be expert on something when you're just pushing your expertise. But we'll try to answer your question in the third part. I wanted to have a focus on a specific topic because it's very important. And Emmanuelle, can you tell us a little bit a global perspective? And I wanted to put the point on where are we now on this subject?
Okay. So at Social Media, we are specialized on getting women into tech because there are very few in tech, and of course, looking at digital, the whole perspective, the transformation of the economy, of the society, tech is very prevalent, or at least digital in the way we communicate. We educate ourselves, we train ourselves, we find jobs, and tech jobs, IT jobs are the third fastest growing industry in terms of job creation. So this is very important. There are, looking at France only, there are 82,000 jobs open today, looking at tech and tech as a large sector. And there is only 28% of women, 16 if we look at tech jobs only. So women are far behind because they don't have the right skills, they don't have the skills that the market is requiring. So market with NoCode is changing, but it's changing still very slow, and women are very absent. So we are working on that because basically if you cannot accept a huge part of the jobs that are being created, you will be excluded from the economy. So this is why we think it's very important on the women's rights issue also, and not only on economical issue. And this subject, so we know that in Western countries, this 26%, 16% in tech jobs is approximately what it is in the Western countries. In Asia, it's not always like this. We know that there are some places where women, in Philippines, in India, some countries in North Africa, like Tunisia, women actually are prevalent. They are more numerous in tech jobs. So this is really a cultural thing. And I don't know if you guys know, but looking at the 60s, 70s, there were a lot of women coding. I don't know if you heard about that. So it really, there was a specific shift in the 80s with the introduction of video games and personal laptops, and marketing companies, industries really did a very strong connection between computer equal men. And then our whole system switched and said, okay, now we should not, for women, feel like we don't belong there anymore, and for men feel like, no, this is our space, this is our ground, and we should be part of it. But women don't feel they should be part of it. So this is kind of the situation we're in, and it's moving very slowly. And looking at the world and the other connected subject, also what I wanted to talk about is that we can look at jobs, we can look at the place of women in the economy, but we need to look also at, the device. We know that today women have 20% less chances of owning a device, whether it is this one or a computer worldwide. We know also that there are 400 million less women than men who have a connection to the internet. We know that there are 80% of women, and this figure I can't believe it, 80% of women that have went through harassment online on social network, whether it is for themselves or observing harassment of other women. So this is a world I don't want to belong to. So we really need to have a certain level of consciousness that every action is needed to change this dynamic, and we are building a new world, and NoCode is an opportunity. So we need to make sure that the culture of NoCode has to be inclusive. We didn't do that with the culture of coding, so we need to really, now think about it, of how we make it an inclusive culture.
Thank you very much.
Which is perfect. I will just add that the opportunity to have women in the NoCode field is the opportunity to have inclusive products and to have inclusive ways of living and consuming. So that's very important to seize the opportunity of a new field in the tech, to get women to go there in the mass perspective, I think. And why it will be a good opportunity, also because it's all about gaining productivity and all about being autonomous. And I think it's very important this in the fact that when you're looking at all in a woman perspective, having a skill that gives you autonomy, it's a skill NoCode can bring new product to life. You can become an entrepreneur and have a real good product with millions of consumers with NoCode. And it can bring new entrepreneurs and new companies and new giants into the world. And I hope new founders that will be women. So it's an opportunity also for entrepreneurship. And I think this is also a great
do you think that the academic background is not the best place where we have to work on this subject, because when maybe 80% of the IT studies are men, and for instance, a lot of my teams are engineers, and they've done studied engineers, and 80% of the men that studied coding during their engineers team, and after this, because of this unbalance, I felt that we have to work maybe here, and the NoCode is an opportunity because it's open to a lot of people that have never done engineer studies, but maybe the best fight is much more at the academic field. I don't know what you think about this.
It's a fight, but it's not the best. They are all good fights, and it's a very important fight, actually. That's sure. And I think it's not starting at the age of like your post-grade, but it starts at 3 years old, and it's a real important fight. Yes, that's for sure.
So the reason we're working with active women and not kids, it's not that there is one more important than the other. It's just going to take longer. So we need to think about the switch that is needed in our culture and the skills now. And I think in the coding or no-coding sphere, we know that we can always learn, that we have always to learn. So we know that technical skills can be learned. And I think this is the basics of what we're doing. We believe that people can transition into tech. We believe that women can be part of the workforce of the tech industry, and they can learn. And we prove it every day. We have been training 75,000 women in 10 years, learning tech skills and other behavioral skills that will help companies grow. But it can be learned. So what I mean is that we need to work on the stereotypes that the next generation have to get rid of, but we need to work on our own stereotypes, and we need to push hard so that women feel that they could belong in also tech sphere, and we could welcome them in a way that is not frightening and that will make a difference for everyone. So this is what I wanted to say. Like, let's not wait until the next generation solve our problems. We're doing that with the environment. Let's not do that with our workforce and economy.
And I think we are living a momentum at the moment where people are really considering of changing a lot of things in their life. And I think we get thanks to what happened with the presidency and that, because we are all considering about, okay, do I have sense in my life, in my job, in my professional life also? Where do I find new things? And we all, it's better than before, but we can all believe that we can change our professional life. I can transition to another job, and here is the opportunity to see, okay, let's open something new for the no-coders, but for that, companies have to be ready also, because you can train a lot of no-coders, if then there is no jobs, but what we said just before, but the opposite for a company, having someone that is trained to be a no-coder, I think it's a great opportunity.
And what I can I just add something
definitely.
very fast? So we are training women from 18 years old to 63 years old. That's the most senior we have. They are from any kind of backgrounds. 30% of them are from a vulnerable background, social backgrounds with minimum vital income. 30% of them are from a migratory, refugees and migratory trajectory. 30% of them do not have the equivalent of baccalaureate. How do you say that in English?
Baccalaureate.
Yes, you're going to say that. So really under 18, they stop at maximum 18 and 17 years old. So there should be a place for everyone, and we know we can take them step by step. It's a long process, it's not in 3 months, but we can take them step by step, doing a job that they love, and learning how to code or no code, do that. What we've seen today is that there are 2 structural barriers. There is one with the companies that ask for 2, 3, 5 years old to education, higher education, to access certain jobs that can be done with people with just, the know-how of the tool. And you have also a lot of training programs in the ecosystem that say, oh, you can come, like McDonald's, wherever you are, however you are, you can enter the door and be part of this training program. But when you look deeper and you look at the coding testing or the technical tests that they are doing to enter the training program, they are very demanding. And there are prerequisites, technical prerequisites, that should not be there to open the doors to the majority of people. So we have to rethink really the different steps that we have to unlock so that we open doors to people. I'm not saying that there are not certain jobs that require certain skills. I'm just saying that we are still putting a lot of pressure, especially in France, to have certain diploma to enter fields that don't require that.
Oh, it's very interesting, and it's a perfect bridge for our last topic of how to support the organization for making this transition possible, because you speak about long-term process, and is bootcamp short-term to accelerate some career, just to make the moves and make women and men a change that is possible with maybe John Maestro acceleration, and or is it only a long-term process with internships and following the people that are in companies? How do you feel that we can support organizations to make it possible?
So it depends how excluded and how far you are from the job market. The situation can be very different. So I can just tell you what we noticed. Looking at women especially, it's not only a question of training. It's a question of inspiring. It's a question of marketing differently the job situation, what you do on an everyday basis, the people you're doing it with, and the outcome, the product, the meaning of, I'm going to be building a platform for health. I'm going to be building a platform to accelerate the purchase of nice clothes on the internet, whatever. But we need to put meaning to the job so that the people are going beyond the stereotypes of the environment, too many male, and am I going to be valued? Am I going to have a contribution in this team? Am I going to be taken seriously? Am I going to be able to evolve in the organization? So all those questions, that are valid questions, okay? So the first thing is working on inspiring. And what is inspiring? It's not only blah, 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 it's going to be nice. No, it's just deconstructing things. But I wish people who made this transition telling, that was difficult. I did it that way. I didn't do for example, I didn't do the interviews of companies asking me to do a tech test. I applied only for companies who asked me not to do that because I don't want to be compared only on that field. So just exchanging on how you did, and also practical. Putting someone in a workshop and just helping this person to build things just very simply, doing their mistakes. It works very well. It works well with kids, and it works well with adults. So that's the first thing. And we need to build a pipeline. We cannot only work with the people who are interested since they are 5 years old about the tech sector and the future and going into space. We need to make everybody come on the boat. And then, of course, there are the training, so IT, IT skills for everybody the same. The only thing, we train women between women. That's a choice, it's not a philosophy. It's just saying we're going to accelerate because they can make some mistakes. So we train women, it's 3 months to 18 months training on very different kind of jobs. But what is important is the environment. They have coaches, they have mentors, they have a lot of events where they can talk with professionals. They have one person that is in charge of their, whatever they need. They are in a personal situation that is complex with kids. They have no money anymore to do the training, for whatever, and they need to do another job. We need to make arrangements so that we bring material. We bring a phone so that they can follow at distance. We need to make sure that they are not dropping off because it's so hard to get them into. We need to make sure they are going up to the end. And then at the end, we need to create a bridge with companies. And we need to say hard, companies do not open jobs to newcomers. They don't. We have 300 companies that are working with us. So, and we have really big companies, and they have, the money to make it work, but they are so afraid it's not going to work. So we have success, just one step with another. Okay, so this person, she's not under 35, 38. Please consider our application. Okay, we would be in US or in UK, this wouldn't be a problem. In France, this is a huge problem. We need to turn around the way companies are looking at recruitment and talent.
Yes, also both education side. I think what we did, we created Maria Schools with my co-founder, and Maria, it's after Maria Montessori. Because we really believe that we need to really change the way we educate adults, the way she revolutionized the way we educate our kids. And it's not because we are adults that we don't need to learn and learn and learn all our life. So it's how you use all these new pedagogies to really enter in a lifelong learning. And when we created Young Maestro, so it's our tech school, really on the tech jobs, project management, and NoCode, we really believe, okay, so how we will use this new pedagogy that we are using, a lot of practice, actually, because you cannot imagine when you do things and you really believe that at first sometimes you come, okay, I want to become a project manager, I want to become a NoCoder. Okay, you want to become a NoCoder, but what does it mean? Let's do some things together, and people are really putting their hands into the tool, they are really doing things, and they understand that they are like in the capacity of doing it, capability, and they are so like, it's a new boost that you have, and you see how people change also a lot while they are learning. And what we decided to do with the training of this category of tech, because what we have, that is, we are training guys and girls, or boys and girls, and that's interesting to see that we always have, and sometimes we are working to do that, but we always have parity in all our cohorts. We are looking for real community trainings, and we see that we have exactly the same number of women and exactly the same number of men. And I think it's because the way we educate people, and it's also because we are doing a job to find all the teachers. We are not looking for teachers that are teachers, but of people that are already working, and they are professionals that are coming, that are giving the class. We have no just a teacher, it's just always professionals that are taking maybe 1 day off or 2 hours off to just share their experience and having the students to do the exercise. And we are always working for women to be the teacher, a little bit more women as teacher than, because it's starting with role model, and you see that, oh, she's doing that, and she's like me, so maybe, and you break one barrier doing like that. So I think education here is very, very important, and that's why it's very important to understand also how you educate to be a little bit more inclusive, and how you educate in this kind of job that are NoCode, where you need to go very, very fast on a lot of new skills. It's very important to revolutionize the way you learn, not only for women, but also for how you learn new skills, and I would say how you learn to learn.
You made a big focus on the soft skills, much more about inspiration and education, less technical, and I shared this because I think that in NoCode, as code is just techniques that you can learn with time, but the mindset and all the environments to do code or NoCode, women or men, I think that's the most complex issue, because technically it's much more easier than code before. So you make all your focus much more on the inspiration and the soft skills rather than the expertise of the technical way.
You need both.
You need both.
Yeah, you need both. And when you learn the hard. But you learn in an environment where you show people that the soft skill is very important.
And for the people who do not have any degree, we recruit on soft skills. Like if they start, and this is how we sell those new entrants to companies, saying those people, they already have the right behavioral skills, they have the growth mindset, they are team spirits. and so they will learn faster, and they will be more productive. So, and companies they agree on that. Not always opening their jobs.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you have any questions. Yes.
Hey there. Thank you all three for the presentation. So I have a question about like competences and skills for companies. So do you actually think that in the future companies will be hiring primarily for like no code, or they will be hiring for like, let's say, just like traditional jobs, just like a designer or a marketer or whatever else, and then with a like a add-on or a plus of no code?
So I think there will be different chunks of jobs. Most of the people, the companies we're working with today, it could be like Accenture, Atos, Capgemini, big companies basically are transforming the IT of companies. So they need technical skills to do so still. So that won't change, I think. But inside the consumer, those consumer organizations, what I see is that it's starting a pivot. There are not a lot of jobs though. This is why you were talking about self-entrepreneurship, or we can see that, the percent of our job with people with real no-code skill that will either train other or transform the organization, I see that still very much minimum. So my belief is that in a skill set of marketing, you will be asked no-code skills in your domain of expertise. This is what I kind of feel today, but I need to get into it.
Yeah, I have the same observation. You will, and this is what you said also, that when you see all the companies have different no-code needs, it can be for the marketing, it can be for the operation. You know, there is a new job of sales ops people that are helping the sales to be more productive. These people need to have the no-code skill. So for me, for the moment, it will be for maybe the next 3-5 years, it will be a lot about adding a competency to the one you have, but this will be a very important competency or very important skill. And then there will be people in the marketing field that are just responsible for these no-code skills. But I don't believe there will be a department of no-code.
Yeah, this is what we talk. I think we'll have maker teams, product builder teams, and citizen. What?
Sorry.
Oh. And citizen developers. I think citizen developer is a very good definition for people that just playing with all the tools, marketing teams, business teams, operation. But also, I think real complementarity and very technical complementarity with no-code specialists that are working with traditional developers, and traditional developers will have the time to focus on algorithm, on things that have a lot of value. And the thing is, doing an Airbnb platform or a B2B platform today with traditional development is not effective. Using no-code for this, it is effective. And using 5% of the code for the high value is, I think, the main shift that we have in the few years. Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that or no? Who disagrees?
What building Airbnb with no-code is?
Yeah. Can we now build a multi-billion-dollar industry with no-code? Can we do that?
They did that.
Huh?
They did that.
Which company?
Yeah. Germany.
Okay.
You don't believe it?
No, we don't need the developers to do the no-code. The AI. I'm thinking about the infrastructure, the AI, the security that requires a lot of mathematics and other. But I'm thinking that it's going to be a very niche expert. But I don't know if some of you guys are
I don't think it's
PhD.
I don't think it's possible to actually build it.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, no, I was saying that I don't think it's possible to actually build a multi-billion.
We have examples. Comet, I don't know if you know this company. They built 6 years ago in Bubble. Bubble is 10 years now, so long time, but they built 5-6 years ago the first platform, and during the two first years they have 800K each month of MRR just to launch the project. And after this, they say, okay, we are on Bubble for 1 year and a half. We have some scalability problems, issues, but we have the proof of concept.
Yeah,
We prove
I'm
it's
not
working.
saying.
Yeah, and after this, they just say, do we have to stay on Bubble or not? We want to change because we have investors. They want to have the property of the tech, but they keep
The market is calling.
market. Yeah,
Money.
yeah, but it works.
Yeah.
It works.
Because that's
And
the problem, tech company, assets.
yeah,
The owners, they want something real, and the people are not real for them.
but in Airbnb example, there is no tech. Maybe the matching, the algorithm after, but the first idea, the first proposal is matching offer and demand. And the business is this offer and demand matching, not the platform. And making a lot of investment, technical investment in doing this platform is not competitive. You can do it in 2 or 3 weeks with NoCode. And after having 1, 2, 3 years maybe of marketing to make it happen. It's just the point. And I think sometimes people ask me, is there any limits with NoCode? I don't think there's limits. There's just different needs. And using NoCode for good needs, and when the needs not the good one for NoCode, you use traditional code.
What I was saying is, don't get me wrong, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
What you're saying, I'm selling it for a living, so I understand it. But what I'm saying is, NoCode can get you there, can scale, but it's not sustainable in the long term. So, like this guy was saying, Finn did it, and in Germany. But what they're not saying, I was reading a blog post in Medium with from them, and they're saying it's not scalable for the long run. So there's gonna be like a million problems, like things breaking, and then you have to catch up with
It's
that.
changing.
But
It's
maybe it's
changing.
I completely agree.
maybe it's because no-code technology is not mature yet.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going that way. But I think what we're saying now is that who owns the company? The company is
Yeah.
not owned by the people who want to do work. It's owned by the people who financed it in the actual business model.
We have very recent example of companies that raised $100 million, the same thing that Bubble raised for building in Sunshine, all built on Bubble. So the investors say, I don't care about the tech, if it's Bubble or traditional, because I know there is business elsewhere, and I invest in the team and in this business. So it's changing. And if there is any tech, and all the value is about the business that you're creating based on this, I think the focus is more here. Yeah, and I think it's changing. But you're right on the security, the compliance, the IGP, and the GDPR. There is a lot of things that where NoCode technology are not very mature today, but it's changing.
Question?
So if you started a training or bootcamp with NoCode, what? Maybe it's a strange or difficult question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What's a perfect or recommended platform to start with NoCode? Because a platform like Bubble already has a lot of complexity. So is there any platform or stack that you would recommend to just get your feet wet?
I think there is a very simple answer. Depends what you want.
Yeah.
What you want to
Really
do.
depend on your needs.
Google Sheet is a good NoCode tool. Google Sheet with Zapier.
Zapier.
Very simple. And Notion is NoCode tools. Very easy to use. Airtable is my best.
But also you have Glide. It's an easy
Glide.
to understand.
Yeah.
Database, visual programming.
And there is some NoCode things that you can do with Bubble, but Bubble is a complex NoCode tools, and it depends your needs. And based on this,
Software.
software
Software
tools.
are
What
very
would be
short
interesting
learning
to
curve.
understanding is to say, okay, what could be the thing I want to solve? And then, if it's something you need to automate, if it's something you go into the tool that is needed to solve this problem. Or if you want to build a product, okay, you have an idea of a business or side project you want to have, and then you enter into a tool. I think this is the way you can get used to the NoCode way of doing things, and then you go on one tool and you go and you see how.
And we have the luck to on this point we have a lot of tools now. 10 years ago, only WordPress and Wix for making website. Today, if you want to do some automation, you have Zapier, the most no-code one I think today. And if you want something a little bit more tech with Integromat, Make, it's exactly the same proposal, but it's much more difficult to use and much more permissive, a little bit cheaper.
You have Notion.
Notion for you, yeah. We have a lot of tools. Yeah.
You have a question?
No, I wanted to say something also. I think my recommendation would be to choose something that you're really passionate about. So if there's an idea of something that you don't see in the market and you really want to realize that, you want to like see first results or get like even just your family to use it, could be something that you track within your family, something that they use on a daily basis or a weekly basis. If you're really passionate about it, you're gonna stick more to it and learn faster, I think. Especially with bubble.
We see that is exactly right. The best no-code developers we have are the passionate one, and we have a lawyer. We have a lawyer and people just with literature studies, so they were not tech at all when they came to Q. So passionate about bubble now. They are.
I think we have an alumni. This guy he was a huge fan of cycling, and he thought that all the solution he had to find the best traveling in cycling was not good in France. So he decided to create his own product. So he trained himself like totally on his own. We still didn't have the training of NoCode. And this guy is now a product manager using a lot of NoCode, so he's a product builder. But it's very interesting because he had a really other background. He was a commercial, absolutely no digital skills at the beginning. He decided to go into it. Then he did our training, and all the job interviews he did were about his side project. Oh, but can you tell me a bit more? What tools did you use? Oh, wow, what it is? And this guy is telling us, wow, I didn't imagine that just passionating about my cycling and doing a product will be so good for my career and for all my job interviews.
You have a question?
Yes. What are the women you were talking about? Because I'm looking for Webflow.
I can show you a lot of people that are looking for jobs. I don't know if you're looking for developer. Product builder, perfect.
Yeah, maybe among the trainees that you have, do you think once they land a job, they send this career path, no-code path, or is this just a transitionary job to obtain maybe a tech job, a code job, or a project management job? Is this a transition career?
So right now we're working with the no-code technology of Microsoft. So maybe it's not a no-code technology, but
It's local.
it's local, right. But so they start as developers, but I think some of them want to be then to go more into the business side. So it's a transition and for them to put one foot in the industry. But they could be hooked afterwards.
And I think it's a good transition to begin with the tools. And I think in education and academic backgrounds, they will change their way to learn codes and maybe begin much more with local tools to have this wow effect. I did something and
Yes.
I love it, or no, I don't like it, just doing things very quickly. And if I truly love and I see that I've done a lot of things in web development, I want to be on algorithm, machine learning, and real tech and real code development, Pierre will go there. I think they will have achieved this transition.
And if someone doesn't agree with some stuff, it's good too.